Hey, Egg Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. It's time for us to go ahead and do kind of a live postmortem and talk about next steps of what we're going to do. There we go. That's a little bit better angle. We're going to do next steps of what we're going to do with the petunia micrografts. So we're gonna bring out some new materials, some new techniques that we're going to use to allow the micrografts to work a little bit better. So let's get the portable bench in here. Let's get that set up, and then we'll take a look at things to see what we're going to fix. Okay, so I'm going to move our petunias out of the way somewhere. This portable bench fits the exact width of our center aisle, and I've got some screws there to keep it from going any further down, but it is a tight fit, which keeps us from losing anything. Okay, portable bench installed. You see those squares, you know what that's from. That is from our slug and snail aversion video, which, amazingly enough, actually worked really, really well. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead. All right, so let's bring out some of the micrografts. All right. So this was one of the micrografts right here. There's no sense zooming in on it because all you're going to see is little itty bitty tiny a dead stem. This plant I'm going to work with again. So there's one that didn't work. And we're going to go through all of these if we can find where the micrografts were. This is where the micrograph was here. That one also did not work. And when I say they didn't work, what I really mean is the micrograph didn't survive. You know, a lot of them worked, they just didn't survive. I think this was another one. And this one, the stem actually aborted. Oh, maybe that wasn't it. It's got to be it. So it's a thicker stem that's been cut back. Yeah, and there's a little dead piece there. So the stem actually aborted on it. There it is right there, just right off the tip of my thumb. You can kind of see the little tiny lobes there. That was for the micrograph. So I think the stem itself killed that one. So the main host plant didn't like it. This one, I think the cleft graft was too far open. Okay, so that one was too far open there, and it just didn't work. So there's 4. See if we can find this one. This one was right here. And I don't even see the tissue. It survived. Some of these survived like a little bit more than 2 weeks, but that's where that one was there. There's 5, and then there's one more. See if we can find that one. Yeah. And there's that one there. So that accounts for all 6 of them. So they didn't work. Well, they worked up until they didn't. Yeah, that was our most recent one because it's got the little seed on it. So with these, uh, some of them worked for about a week, and two of them worked for a little bit more than a week. And I was debating when to take off the humidity cover, and apparently I waited too long. So a week is probably good for the humidity cover. If you wait much more than that, then you're going to start running into problems, which is what I did. I ran into problems. So the cuttings damped off because they were too moist for too long. So too much moisture. So I'm going to do micrografts again tonight if I have any stock available for that, as far as the petunia seedlings. So let's get these back out of the way. We sprayed and we still have aphid issues. So I think I've got some resistant aphids, or my chemical I used is bad. So we're going to try to do some other stuff. So you see me squishing stuff. I'm killing millions of aphids by just killing whatever one I squish. Okay, so let's see. We have questions in the live stream. Nope. All right, so let's see. What are we going to do to tackle this issue and solve our issue with our micrografts dying? Well, the number one issue with the micrografts dying was my ability to position the micrografts, because fingers are big compared to the size of the micrografts. Micrografts are the stem of that's maybe 20 thousandths, so you're looking at like fractions of a millimeter. For those of you that are overseas, freedom units, it's about the diameter of the shaft of a pin or a needle. But this is going to be one of our solutions. Okay, so this is a grafting clip. So this is a 3D printed grafting clip. This one is designed for grafting tomatoes and cucumbers. Found this on Thingiverse. I've used it before, but what we're going to do is we're going to use some smaller ones. My son that's in the machining program has gone through and actually he owns a 3D printer and he's printed these for me. So he's going to go through and make another one that's just a little bit smaller than this. And the hope is when we come in here on these, that these will fit the diameter of the stem. Ooh, it needs to be cut. I don't think I've got my razor blade out here. Let's see if we can get this to work real quick. Okay. So the idea is that we're going to come in and this will be able to clamp around the stem tissue. So we actually need larger internodal spaces, which we don't have. But it'll act as a little bit of a clamp to hold that plant tissue closed. The other thing it's going to do is this space around here is going to kind of protect that graft from being bumped. So it should be easier for us to do that. So we're going to use grafting clips. A similar version of this is used in tomato grafting commercially, where they graft hybrid tomatoes onto rootstock. So we're going to use those. So we're going to use some grafting clips. I'm hoping that this is going to be the solution. Excuse me, the solution. So you can see that's the shape. This is kind of my demo model. That's going to be close to our production model. If you're watching the video and you're wondering what's going on, there's a live stream that way. So I do have a live stream that I do every Wednesday. And they start between, well, depending on difficulty for me, it may be as early as 10 or late as 11 Pacific time. So whatever time it is in LA, that's the time that we start. LA, Seattle, Portland, we're in that time zone. But yeah, these are the grafting clips. We're going to go ahead and use those. And I've got my son working on making a version that's about 30% smaller than this. So it should fit the stem diameter better. But I also may use these with a little bit of a medical tape wrapped around it, a really fine medical tape, act as kind of the cushion, and that'll come around the stem, and then we'll clamp this on it because I don't want to crush the grafts, but I do need to hold that tissue close so we don't get it aborting on us, because that would be bad. Sorry, I got distracted. Found a caterpillar. I'll feed him to my fish. See if the goldfish want to eat him. Okay, so that's going to be the grafting clips. So we're going to use those, and we're going to see how well that works. So I'm pretty excited about this as another option. And though I did think the micrografting was going to work, it was my fault. My fault it failed. But this is a process we're developing, and we're going to keep going on this until we figure the process out. But yeah, that if you can't see the little tiny gray ones, here's little tiny gray ones, and I've got some smaller ones that'll be printed. They'll all be gray. This is, I don't remember if that's one that someone else printed for me, but yeah, that's the grafting clips. So we'll be using those. All right. So eventually get some people excited about the live streams. But there you go. There's a live update on the micrografting. So we weren't 100% successful, but I'd say we were 80% successful. We had some, most all of the grafts lasted a week, and then a couple of the grafts lasted a little bit more than a week. But unfortunately, humidity control is what got the last bunch of those, and that's my fault. The night before, I had debated, I'm like, gosh, I should probably remove those covers, and I didn't. And yeah, so that's totally my fault. But anyway, so for the live stream, we're going to keep going. For my regular video, yeah, that's just the way it is. It's a learning process, but we have a tool now that we're going to use. So our little grafting clips. So we're going to use those to help hold that together. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find some foam-like material to put on tweezers, and kind of make extensions onto my tweezers and try to use that as my little fleshy fingers to grab the micrograph. So something really soft. I've got some, like the pool noodles, I've got some of that material. I'm going to cut that really thin and try to use that as little rubber extensions. Aphid. So I'm going to use pool noodle foam as little rubber finger extensions or foam finger extensions on this to help hold those cuttings so I'm not crushing the stem, because they're very, very difficult to manipulate with bare hands. They're just so small. So we're going to use that. We're going to build some tools, and we are going to develop a system to be able to do this. That's a to be able to. It's not a we're going to try to or would like to. It's going to be a to be able to. All right. So anyway, to my viewers of the update on the micrographs, I hope you learned something. I hope you consider subscribing, or better yet, even membership. But at the very least, I hope that you enjoy yourself. Ag Teacher Thoughts.